sometimes Prabhupada would say, our Lord Krishna. And this Janmastami festival, which is, well, just beginning for you, I think it's about 8 o'clock in the morning for you. It's about, I think, what, 4 or 5 here in the afternoon. But this Janmastami festival's been going on every year without fail for 5,000 years in Bharat, in India. And in the Bhavishya Purana, Uttarakanda section, there's the following statement. On his father's, Vasudev's order, Krishna once said to the people of Mathura, this Janmastami festival was first celebrated in Mathura, but later it will become famous throughout the world. As Krishna said this, Bhavishya Purana. And that prophecy of the Lord, because whatever he says is absolute truth, that prophecy has come true. When our own very dear Srila Prabhupada brought Krishna consciousness to the West, 1965. So historically, we see that this Janmastami festival been going on for a long time, and it's been going on since 1965 in the West, wherein Srila Prabhupada, in those initial days, he showed his followers how to observe Janmastami. And because it was just a small clan of misdirected youths with a lot of bad habits, not inclined so much to austerity, initially Prabhupada made the observance of Janmastami fairly simple for those devotees at 26 2nd Avenue. He instructed those devotees to fast all day until midnight, wasn't it? By alternating every half hour between japa and speaking about Krishna. And then at midnight, there was a special arti, and then a feast was served. But in the years since that first Janmastami, ISKCON's developed a more elaborate celebration, as you know. Of course, you can't observe it like that today because of the COVID-19 and all the regulations and stipulations that are there for social distancing, etc. I think most devotees will observe Janmastami online, although I think for the Tawako temple, which is not far from you, or somewhat near you, I think that devotees will be allowed to go in small groups. I'm not sure, but anyway, most of us, even here in Vrindavan, I'm 50 meters from the Krishna Balaram temple, we can't go. But it's okay. Shabda Brahma. Through sound, transcendental sound, everything is revealed. And the essence of Janmastami remains. And what is that? To chant Sri Krishna's holy names and hear his glories all day and all night. But for those of you who are interested, there are detailed instructions in our Shastras how to observe Janmastami in a glorious fashion in 2021. In particular, the Hari Bhakti Vilas, which is one of our most important scriptures, goes into great detail, elaborate detail, how to observe Janmastami. So you've got a year to prepare for the elaborate Janmastami. Actually, when I studied Hari Bhakti Vilas, I found there's 300 verses describing how to observe the event as a way to give pleasure to Krishna and thus derive the ultimate benefit for ourselves. It's certainly in our interest for Shuddha Bhakti Charana Renu, in Shuddha Bhakti Charana Renu, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, let me remember, Madhavatiti Bhakti Janani Jaitana Palana Kori, Krishna Bhashati Boli Parama Adare Bori. He says that holy days like Ekadasi and Janmastami are the mothers are the mother of devotion for those devotees who respect them. Then he goes on, let the holy places of Krishna's pastimes be my places of worship and bless me. So he says Janmastami in particular is a mother of devotion for devotees who respect it, observe it, by hearing and chanting. So in Hari Bhakti Vilas, chapter 15, verse 247, begins by describing the celebration of Janmastami. There it's stated, the observance of Janmastami is compulsory for everyone, devotees. It is a regular event that frees one from all sin and grants all kinds of transcendental benefits. And Srila Prabhupada also writes about the importance of Janmastami in Nectar of Devotion, chapter 26. He writes, our founder Acharya, this Janmastami day is the most opulent festival day for devotees, and it is observed with great pomp in every Hindu house in India, he says. So it's the most opulent festival day of the year for devotees, actually. Of course, Sri Krishna himself instructs us about the importance of his birth or appearance in this world, because Janmastami is celebrating Krishna's appearance in Mathura. And Krishna says about his appearance in this world, most of you probably know this verse, Janma karma chame divyam evam yo veti tatvataha chakvideham punar janma naitimam eti sorjuna. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. So you could say this event is probably said the most to be observed most opulently because it's so important. It's praiseworthy, Jaya, the most praiseworthy Jaya day of all, because it brings victory, Jaya, in the sense of the word that the word Janmastami is also called Jayanti. Jaya, Jaya, praiseworthy, brings victory. Janmastami is called Jayanti for that reason, Jaya, Jaya. And Hari Bhakti Vilas says there's no restriction as to who can observe the festival of Krishna's appearance. Devoted men and women of all walks of life can participate, but Hari Bhakti Vilas says children younger than 8 years are excused from fasting. And Hari Bhakti Vilas strongly advises a dry fast, completely abstaining from food and water all day up to midnight. Mark that down. And when Prabhupada first introduced Janmastami, he encouraged his devotees, his disciples to do that. But when they couldn't, he gave a concession to them. You can eat a little, he said, rock candy. I don't think devotees knew what rock candy was. Prabhupada said you can have rock candy or little fruit. However, he preferred that devotees fast all day from food and drink. And to help one fast the whole day, Hari Bhakti Vilas recommends devotees to take the following vow. Here's a vow you can take if you're determined to fast all day and half the night. Adya Shtitva Nirahara Shvobhute Parameshwara Bokshyami Devaki Putra Asmin Janmastami Vrate. O Supreme Personality of Godhead, O Son of Devaki, now I stand before you. Today I will not eat. Only tomorrow I will eat. Today I'll observe the vow of Janmashtami. And in Hari Bhakti Sudodaya, chapter 8, 269, Lord Brahma tells Narada Muni, eating on Janmashtami is a sin, equivalent to eating from the hand of a corpse. Hearing such a statement, we may wonder why did Prabhupada make concessions for his followers? And the answer is that the essence of Janmashtami is service to Krishna and absorption in Krishna consciousness. That's the essence. If fasting keeps us from serving Krishna, instead just makes us all day long conscious of our hunger, it's better to take some rock candy and a little fruit and use the energy it gives us to fully participate in the Janmashtami festivals. But we shouldn't use that as an excuse to eat all day. It is also said that those who fill their bellies on Janmashtami will be sent to a hell where the Yamadutas feed them only one sesame seed a day. Hari Bhakti Sudodaya. So proper balance is there. We're all individuals at different ages, etc. But we should try to fast all day and half the night. So these type of strong statements are meant for people who need to be motivated to serve Krishna. Pure-hearted devotees happily celebrate Janmashtami just to please Krishna. But besides those few negative statements, they're not really negative statements, but strong statements on what happens if you don't follow Janmashtami properly. There's many positive statements telling us what happens if we do follow properly. Again, in the Bhavishya Purana Uttarakanda, we hear how Krishna once told Yudhishthira, let me remember, O delight of the Kurus, by once fasting during Janmashtami, a person becomes freed from the sins of 7 births. Of this there is no doubt. Such a person who observes the day of my birth can travel on an airplane for 100,000 years to see and enjoy the many pleasures of the universe. These are special airplanes. And after that, return to this earth to enjoy the remains of his pious credits. On this earth, he becomes the ruler of a great kingdom, a kingdom filled with all desirable things, all pious deeds and many cows, but freed from suffering, where he lives for a long time enjoying what his heart desires. Then at the end of life, he goes to the spiritual world, Vaikuntha, where there's no repetition of birth and death. So after describing the benefit a person enjoys from fasting on Janmashtami, Krishna also describes 2 benefits that a family of that person gets. And then he describes the benefit of a country that person lives in benefits from by observing Janmashtami. For families, Krishna says, all opulences come to a home where the pastimes of my birth from Devaki is worshipped. Fearful diseases and other calamities can never enter there. And that home need not fear snakes, tigers, disease, COVID, sins, thieves, or the king, Trump. And a home that simply houses a book describing the vow of Janmashtami will never see a miscarriage, a stillborn child, a resident becoming a widow, or amongst family members, any misfortune, deception, or quarrel. It's good to follow this vow of Janmashtami. And then for a country, it's described in that Shastra, the benefit of a country where the citizens observe Janmashtami is, in the country where pictures of my birthday are visible and worshipped with sandalwood paste, and where my birth is always written of in many books and studied with care. The citizens are beautified by all the ornaments of spiritual life. Moreover, such a country need have no fear of enemies, plagues, pandemics, or other calamities, and will be blessed with as much rainfall as desired. You can send that verse to the White House. Because in this regard, Shastra actually describes 6 kinds of calamities. Drought, excessive rain, the plagues of locusts. Locusts. There was a plague of lotus recently here in UP. The plagues of rats and the plague of birds and an invasion of foreign armies. That would mean to the north of India here. So we can see how powerful is the observance of Janmastami. It is said that even accidental observance of Janmastami, quote from that same scripture, leads to the spiritual world of Lord Vishnu. Now back to Hari Bhakti Vilas. Hari Bhakti Vilas says that the observance of Janmastami protects one from the influence of Kali Yuga, and that it equals many millions of sacrifices, pilgrimages, gifts of cows, charitable acts, and pious deeds. It surpasses serving parents, with all due respect, ritualistic performances of family gurus, giving up one's life for a religious cause, helping others, and never speaking a lie. Observing Janmastami brings piety, wealth, sense gratification, and liberation. We're not so interested, but for most devotees who observe Janmastami, for all devotees who observe Janmastami, they can expect to be favored by Radha and Krishna. Therefore, Brahma tells Narada in the Skanda Purana, Brahma tells Narada, his son, "O great sage, I have not seen anything in the Vedas or the Puranas equal to or better than the vow of Janmastami." And Hari Bhakti Vilas also lists some of the most important elements of Janmastami, how to observe it. And the first is to rise early and bathe, which you've obviously done, hearing, chanting, and remembering Krishna's names and his childhood pastimes, bathing the temple or the home deities and offering them a new dress. I hope that you've all prepared a new dress for your deities. And Srila Sanatana Goswami adds an additional feature to that bathing, the Abhishek. He writes that devotees should bring a large pot filled with water, which should be used as a stand, decorate it with aguru oil and camphor scented leaves, and cover it with flower garlands. And on top of that pot, devotees should place a golden deity of Devaki, breastfeeding Krishna. Okay, 2021. A golden deity of Devaki breastfeeding Krishna. These deities should be bathed in the standard way with milk and other substances, and then dressed and decorated just like your temple deities in Bergen or in Tawako. Finally, the deities should be offered fresh fruits and foods cooked in ghee, not butter, ghee. And then throughout the rest of the Janmastami festival, these deities of Devaki Krishna should be served in the same way as the deities on the altar. And when the festival is over, Devaki Krishna could be put to rest for the next year. This is Hari Bhakti Vilas. And these deities are considered the Uttava Murtis, or the Janmastami festival deities. And this worship of Devaki Krishna, which we don't do in ISKCON, but I'm just informing you, it's one of our Shastras, Gopal Bhatta Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, Hari Bhakti Vilas. It states that the worship of Devaki Krishna, as we just described, may be taken in 2 ways. Some devotees may wish to worship Devaki as the wife of Vasudeva, while others as Yashoda Devi, a wife of Nanda Maharaj. in the sense that both women are considered Krishna's mothers. And both are actually known by the name Devaki. Brihad Vishnu Purana, it said, Dvainamni Nanda Bharyaya Yashoda Devakiti Cha Atta Sakyam Abhuttasya Devakya Shori Jayaya. The wife of Nanda Maharaj has two names, Yashoda and also Devaki. So then the devotee should bathe at midday in a holy river or any body of water. Your shower. And Hari Bhakti Vilas adds, if possible, one should change into fresh clothes at midday and then touch an amalaki fruit to his or her head. And the amalaki fruit is dear to Krishna, and its touch inspires devotion to the Lord. Then the family members should construct a maternity room or a maternity ward that includes deities of Krishna and his parents in your temple room or your living room. And Hari Bhakti Vilas says, and various scriptures state that it's important to construct an elaborate maternity room to serve as an object of meditation. For devotees throughout the Janmastami festival, a maternity room is where a lady gives birth, a child. So Hari Bhakti Vilas recommends that the maternity room should be opulently decorated, Krishna's maternity room, with jewels, silks, and garlands. And it says that it should include aspects of Krishna's jail in the sense that there should be, or Gokul, in the sense there should be two scenes set side by side. The prison side, where there should be shackles, an iron sword, a lamp, water, a fire, and a club. And there the guards should be outside. And within there should be a deity of Devaki lying down on a bed. Beside her bed should be a baby of Krishna sleeping. And in the Gokul portion of the maternity room, there's two parts, two sides. There should be a deity of Mother Yashoda lying with her newborn daughter and surrounded by a churning pot. And other items characteristic of a cowherd's home, not a jail, like figurines of Nanda Maharaj, cowherd men, gopis, Balaram, Gargamuni. They should be seen standing around Yashoda in this particular maternity room. And then Sanatana Goswami suggests something very interesting. He says that at a distance, the Kaliya serpent should be seen swimming in the waters of the Jamuna. This is an amazing observance of Janmastami. Then he writes that above these two different scenes, there should be demigods, nagas, demons, and other celestial beings. They should be seen flying in the sky, offering respects and bearing gifts to these two rooms where Krishna's taking birth. And then Sanatana Goswami stresses that in the maternity room of Devaki, food should be offered, incense, flowers, and devotees should pray as follows. All glories to the beautiful face Devaki, the mother of the demigods. You are the happy-faced mother of a newborn son, served by many celestials with songs, instruments, and gifts. O girl with a beautiful face, you were pleased when the demigods worshipped you. Now as I worship you with devotion, please be kind to me. Having given birth to the Supreme Lord, you are the abode of spiritual bliss. Please make me the object of a similar divine joy. And then Sanatana Goswami says there in Hari Bhakti Vilas, devotees should worship Krishna with nice offerings and pray. O Lord Krishna, who descends to this world in many thousands of incarnations and has appeared today in his original form, inconceivable even to Brahma and Shiva, O Lord who lays in his mother's lap, I offer my respectful obeisances to you. And then the devotees should conclude in that maternity ward by saying, Throughout the day, Devaki and Krishna should be worshipped and giving offerings comparable to those. I will finish my day, my Lord Krishna and Devaki, by offering you offerings comparable to those in the permanent temple. Hare Krishna. So now we'll continue with other observances. It's recommended that one worship the moon with Arghya at moonrise. Why the moon? Because Sanatana Goswami says Krishna appeared in the dynasty of the moon. And because the moon is important in Krishna's astrological chart. And let's see, what else? You should offer that Arghya to the moon with a prayer. O moon god, born from the milk ocean and from Atri's eye, O moon god, now associating with Rohini, please accept this Arghya mixed with yogurt, flowers, and unbroken rice. Then Hari Bhakti Vilas recommends performing dramas, reading Bhagavad Gita, reading Srimad Bhagavatam, and worshiping the goddess Shashti. She's the consort of Kartikeya, and she's the protector of children. And have a name-giving ceremony for Krishna in the maternity room. And at midnight, make offerings and perform artik. Hari Bhakti Vilas recommends offering not the regular 5-wick ghee lamp, but a 54 or 108 wick ghee lamp, which he says both of which certainly require more care, but are pleasing to the Lord and to the congregation of family members, or if you do this in the temple, in the congregation of devotees. And Hari Bhakti Vilas recommends the worship of Durga Devi, since Durga is an expansion of Yogamaya, and she appeared at the same time as Krishna in the jailhouse of Kamsa, that you offer her some flowers or incense, and that such veneration should be modest and should not detract from the worship of the deities of Krishna. Now you know why Prabhupada had the devotees in 26th Avenue just do a simple performance of Janmastami. But as the years go by, perhaps ISKCON can introduce some of these things, because it just makes we become more absorbed. And then Hari Bhakti Vilas says, honor a feast of Ekadasi Prasadam at midnight and distribute charity and feed the Brahmins. And completing one's vow by breaking one's fast. Yes. And note that it's an Ekadasi fast at midnight and a normal feast the next day. For ISKCON devotees, this means offering a feast to founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, Srila Prabhupada, and taking it after a glorious and opulent festival honoring his appearance day. And throughout the day of Janmastami, Srila Sanatana Goswami recommends one chant the following prayer. See if I can remember. I offer my respectful obeisances to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who, in order to give protection to Brahma and all other living entities in this world, was born as the son of Vasudeva and Devaki. Obeisances to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the son of Vasudeva, and may the auspiciousness of, and may there be all auspiciousness for cows and brahmanas. May there be peace. May auspiciousness reign throughout the entire world. So these are a number of things you can do, probably next year, but that just gave a summary. Prabhupada didn't ask us to use all these recommendations. You can do it if it's nice, but again, the essence of Janmastami is to remain engaged throughout the day. And the best way to do that is to chant 100 japa beads. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. To read Krishna book or Bhagavatam, or to go online and discuss with your friends the glories of Krishna as described in Srimad Bhagavatam, Brihad Bhagavatamritam, etc. But just to be focused on Krishna, 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 Krishna. This is his appearance day. And of course, the back of our mind, we're remembering that tomorrow is Prabhupada's appearance day. For many days, for many devotees, that's the most important festival of the year, because without Prabhupada, we wouldn't know it was Janmastami or Radhastami that's coming up. Prabhupada is our life and soul. So have a wonderful Janmastami today, and have a wonderful festival for Srila Prabhupada tomorrow. I thank you for this opportunity to spend a few moments with you. I know this is your morning time. Good way to start the day. It's Janmastami to hear Krishna. I'm sure you'll be hearing lectures from others, much more advanced than myself, much more realized, like my dear godbrother Jayadvaita Swami Maharaj, who I know is in the area. You're so fortunate. I think perhaps he'll be giving the lecture in Tobacco or wherever. So yes, continue your hearing and chanting on this wonderful day of Sri Janmastami, which is the mother of devotion for all devotees who respect them. So thank you, devotees from Bergen, for giving me this opportunity. Hare Krishna, Sri Janmastami Maha Mahotsava ki, Shri Prabhupada ki, Mathura Dham ki, Gokul Dham ki, Go Premanandi Jai Jai Sri Radhe Shyam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Mahavan Prabhu.
Hare Krishna devotees, yes. So you can continue your program. So have a nice Janmashtami. Amazing instruction Gurudev gave it to you. So we will celebrate in Vrindavan tomorrow. So please join us tomorrow as well. Thank you so much.
And I want to thank Mayapur Prabhu especially and for organizing and bringing Maharaj to speak to us today. And I'd like to thank all the other devotees, wherever you're celebrating Janmashtami, or anywhere in the world. Have a wonderful Janmashtami festival. Tomorrow, Srila Prabhupada's appearance day. May today bring all auspiciousness in everybody's life and purify the entire world, and have a new beginning, a better beginning starting today. Hare Krishna. Thank you, everyone. Hope you all can join today, us in the evening. We have our first virtual program from 6 p.m. until midnight. We will be having we'll be having many, many different programs going on tonight. Visit our Facebook page or website to get more details. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.